how's it going, and welcome to The Guitar Effect. My name's Rob. In this video I'm going to be making my second video about the GL200 loop station looper from Mooer. Except in the first video I already made a video where I went through the looper's controls and that whole thing and what it does and how it performs as a looper. This is the second looper from Mooer I've reviewed. The first was kind of the smaller version of this, was the GL100. I made two videos about that, one about the looper and then one about using it to play backing tracks. Same deal here. I'm making this demo to show how this can be used to play backing tracks, right? I'm going to keep this intro pretty short because if you want to know about the actual looper itself, go watch the video here. This is the GL200 main demo. When you are in a band or maybe a solo artist or whatever and you want to use backing tracks, there are certain things that make that possible, particularly in a band situation, right? So being able to send a click track somewhere and then send the backing track somewhere else separately if you're a band, basically click track to the drummer's ears and tracks to the front of house and monitors on stage. So basically front of house to the PA, tracks to the PA and then click track to the drummer's ears is basically a must for anything that's going to play backing tracks, right? This has a drum machine built in which you can send to a separate output, which should allow you to use a click to send to the drummer's ears and then allow you to load your tracks into, which you can do by the way, to send them out to the PA, right? And it has left and right outputs and in that way it should be able to do it. It can't do that because there's no click track loaded into the drum options, but I get into that in the demo, right? So I don't need to go through the controls because it'll all become apparent in the demo. So this is how to use the GL200 and whether or not you should choose to use the GL200 in a backing track playing situation. Okay, so to demo the GL200 in this capacity, obviously the setup is very simple. No guitar in my hands today because I'm demoing a backing track player, not demoing how to use it as a looper, right? So a couple of things. I have a few different songs loaded up. I've one song loaded up, I think, twice, and then a few different ones loaded up after that. I'm going to just go through a few different kind of assumptions, ones that work and ones that don't work, about using this as a backing track player, okay? So on the first thing here, you can see I'm on patch number 4, which is track number 4, okay? One really important thing that you have to do here is you have to hold down the settings button. Sorry, just click it. And go to stop mode and set it to one shot. That's the first thing. So when you're using a backing track, what you want to do is let it play right through so your band can play along with it, and at the end you want it to stop itself and then not do anything else. So if you set it to one shot, it'll do that, okay? So then you go back out. The other thing is, there are two outputs on the back of the GL200, same as there are two outputs on the side of the GL100. Which means that you can set that up as left and right, or you can set it up as loop out in mono and the drums out in mono on two separate outputs. Now, when you are doing setting up a backing track type scenario for a band, what you want to do is you want to give a click track to the drummer's ears, put 8 counts at the beginning of the song so he can have 1, 2, 3, 4 come into his ears, and then on the second 1, 2, 3, 4 he can go 1, 2, 3, 4, or she for that matter, and allow the song to start, right? So what you do is when you're outputting the file from your DAW, you leave 8 counts before the song starts. It's easy, right? And then the idea is that you would have the click go to one side, you would have the tracks go to the other side, and then you would have the clicks go to his ears and the tracks go to the front of the house. You're playing along with the drummer and the tracks are going out, both coming back on your monitors and going out in front of the house. I've dealt with this in several videos before. It's how you do backing tracks for live, okay? If you don't have a device that'll play a click back separately. However, when you record something on the GL200, you can set it so that it gives you a click before it starts recording to give you a tempo to play to. So the GL200 has the ability to play a click track. Now, I've probably said this already, it's not a backing track player, it's a loop station that you can set to play backing tracks. So there are certain things that are omissions from this that would help with backing track playing, but it's not designed for it, so I can't chastise it because of it, you know what I mean? That's the first thing. it has the ability to play a click, and yet among all the different drum options in the drum and scene section, a click isn't one of them. So let me show you what I mean. I have loaded the backing track without the click into the GL200 for one of our songs, right? And I have it set with the tempo to be the same so that when I play the drums, we're in time. I'm going to start this now. I'm going to turn off the drums, right? You will hear, there's the track, right? It starts off with this drum sample. Now, because the track is at 120 and BPM, and because the patch that I've brought it into is at 120 BPM, when I hit on the drums, they're perfectly in time. Now, why that's useful is that if Mooer could add with a software update, you can hear it's in time. Potentially very useful. If Mooer had, in a firmware update, if they just added a click track as one of the options in the drum machine, you could port in all your tracks without a click track, put them in, set the tempo to be the same, and use the click track as a drum machine, and there you have it. You've got a click going out one, and you've got your backing track going out the other. However, there's no ability to use the drum machine as a click. It can only be various different drum machines. So that option is currently dead, right? So moving on from that there, we go to loop 5. Here, I have the click track going out one side and I have the track going out one side, but both of them are baked into the file I bring in. I'm not using the drum machine on board in any way, and that sounds like this, same song. So if I hit play, clicks over here, track starts, right? I can go turn down the click track or turn it up, and I can turn up the loop or turn it down. Point being, I have independent control over those two things, which means I can send the click out to the drummer's ears, and I can send the backing track out to front of house. Everything works perfectly. And using the 2-foot switches, I can cycle up through different songs, okay? So that is everything that a backing track player needs to be able to do. Now, in order to do this, I'll just play another one. Slower click. Same thing, stop it, up to the next one. So as you can see, it's no problem. I can cycle through my band set list one song after the next, use my foot to go up a patch to the next song, hit play, goes into the drummer's ears, he clicks us in, off we go. It'll do that with backing tracks that you import, and I'll show you how to import the backing tracks, and I've done it on the GL100. It's exactly the same method. It'll take me 2 minutes. I'll show you how to import backing tracks to it. It'll do that with no problems. Now, there is one other thing that I thought about in a way to use the GL200's extra features, that you could use the onboard drum machine, because it allows you to load in your own Midi files and it allows you to load in your own drum kits. So I could go get a wood block on a drum kit, load in a Midi file that's just hitting the wood block 4 times, and use it as a click track and send that on the drum machine out the other side, right? It's complicated, but I know it would work. But there's this one phenomenon on the GL200 that was present on the GL100 as well that I don't understand, right? And that is, say I have a backing track that's at a tempo of 120 beats per minute. When I load it into the unit will decide for some reason that the tempo is set to say 80 beats per minute, or in one case it's set 120 beats to 129 beats per minute. And it can't change the tempo of the drums or the onboard tempo without affecting the loop that you bring in. So pursuing any sort of MIDI click or MIDI drum beat playing along with files you bring in is completely pointless, because there's no way to set the tempo of the two things reliably the same. So the only capacity that this is useful as a backing track player, which is a completely fine capacity, can do the job perfectly. The only capacity is making your own tracks that have the click on one side and the track on the other side, so you can send the click to the drummer and the track to the front of house and the monitors, right? That's the only way it can be used. The fact that it has an onboard drum machine, the ability to load in your own kits and the ability to load in your own MIDI, it's actually irrelevant, because there's no way to reliably set the tempo of the patch that you're going to load the song into to the same tempo as the song you're bringing in. I even made sure on one occasion that the song I brought in had the tempo baked into it, and it still didn't work. It still just set the tempo to some random number that had nothing to do with the song I put in. I don't know why it's doing that. It seems odd to me, but it doesn't work, right? So unless I'm doing something wrong, if someone in the chat wants to say, oh, you should do X, Y, or Z, fair enough, point it out to me, I will try it. But right now, there's no added benefit to this unit having a drum machine and being able to route that drum machine to a separate output to give you a separate click. You still just bake them in left and right, send the click to the drummer and the tracks to your ears, or say tracks to the front house. Okay, so it can play backing tracks. You can load up your set list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, run through them. Where this, like the GL100, runs into a small problem there is it would be really helpful if this display could give you names, so you could name the song so you know what song you're starting rather than just having a number. If you have a 20 song set list, not having names can get a bit problematic. However, there is one addition to it, which I'm going to get into now, which does have massive value in that it has MIDI. Which means if you're using a unit on the floor, like for example live I use a HX Effects and I use it in a song part by song part basis, and I have a set list of 12 songs for original band, and then within each of those 12 songs is intro, verse, chorus, whatever. As I switch song in the HX Effects, I could pull up the relevant loop via MIDI on this device, so I know the name of the song is on the HX Effects, so I know it's the right song, as long as I've checked that the right song is mapped to the right value in this. Now I'm going to demonstrate that in a second to show you what I mean, but the MIDI on this does bring an extra usability to using this as a backing track player in a big way, because it means if you have two devices on the floor that you need to pull up a certain value on, you only have to do it once, you don't have to do it twice. However, there are things you have to be wary of. So I'm going to demonstrate that now and show you what I mean. Okay, so as you can see here, I now have the Amp Academy Stomp from NuX and the GL200 setup, okay? The only connection I have going in between them is there's a MIDI cable, like 1/8" MIDI cable or 3mm MIDI cable, I think it is, going from the back of the MIDI out of the Amp Academy Stomp into the MIDI in on the GL200. Right, so say I'm at a gig and each one of these sub presets represents my sound for a specific song. So in this case, they're actually called Fender Image, Vox Image and Rich Friedman Image, right? Fender Image is for some reason is the name of my band's first song. Our second song is called Vox Image and our third song is called Friedman Image, okay? Let's just say that was the case. I get up to start the first song and I bring it up and it brings up number 6 on the GL200. We play that song, I press play, gives me the click, and I'm playing along with the band, right? We go through the whole song and it stops itself. That's great, la la la, I talk to the crowd, get ready for the next song, I hit the next one, it brings up number 7. Again, hit the button, drummer gets the click, 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 boom, we're in, right? We go through that whole song. I go to my next patch, Friedman Image, third song in the band set. Again, I start it. Boom, we're in again. So, it's the same song as the last one, it's just the way the numbers are lined up. The point I'm making is, I know what song I'm pulling up here, and every time I pull up that song, it brings in, it changes to the correct patch on the GL200. It can only do that because it has MIDI. And in that way, I think this is a very interesting scenario. So that's kind of what I have to say about the GL200. If you want to use MIDI, then I think you should get this one. If you don't have a need to use MIDI, I don't see a need to spring for the extra foot switch and the extra €100, whatever it is. Just get the GL100. It'll do the exact same job because of the drum machine limitations that are on both. It'll do the exact same job. It's only get this one if you need the MIDI, and I do think the MIDI brings it into a different place. Now, one last thing to mention. If Mooer can make the necessary changes to be able to like fix the BPM problem and also make one of the drum kits just a click, and actually really importantly, make it a click with variable tone, because drummers are very sensitive to the particular type of tone they like when they're getting a click track. So if Mooer can fix this, one huge benefit is you have a different level here for the click track and a different level for the front of house, which means that if the drummer has this beside him, he can control the level of a click in his ears independent to the level of the drums, which is a huge thing, right? We use the Idoru P1, which is a dedicated backing track player with my band, and we have a lot of backing tracks when we play live. We put all our synth and drum loops on, as well as two guitars. Synth and drum loops are backing tracks as well as two guitars, vocals, drums, bass live, and it just fills out our sound. It's amazing. If our drummer can control the level of his click in his ears without affecting the front of house, it's a big deal, which the Idoru P1 can do that. Mooer could easily fix this by putting a click track as one of the drum kit options and making sure that the BPM that you set, you have the option to control it, to only control the drums and not control the backing track. So that's it. I think if you want to use something external to control what patch you're pulling up on this, it's a good choice. If you don't want to do that, just get the GL100. It can do the job just as well. And yeah, a really great looper, as his first video showed, and I think it does perform admirably in this setting. Okay, so I'm in the software here, as you can see, right? And this is really, really simple. There are 5 tabs over here. There's audio management, my drum set, MIDI import, device update, and factory reset. For audio management is the only one you really care about for being able to load backing tracks into. You hit this thing to download a backing track. You go and select your file. All my backing tracks are in my iCloud, so I go into RC5, because these ones are the ones that were originally for the RC5 that have the click on one side and the track on the other. I select one, I hit open. It converts it over a period of time, and when it's converted, I'm not going to stay for the entire duration of this while it imports it, but when it converts it, it appears without a name or anything, with the length of the thing here, and it's another slot filled up, right? And that's how you load a backing track into the software itself. So there you go. I think basically, if you don't need the MIDI to be able to control it with an external device, just buy the GL100. It can do everything this can do. If you do need the MIDI, I think the price of this for what it can do is pretty good. I would love to see an alphanumeric display, and then some things from Mooer if they want to consider changing a few things. One of the options on the drum machine should be a click track, and also try to see what you can do to solve that problem of when I load a track in, it just randomly picks a tempo and then I can't change that tempo to match the song. If we could do those things, this could be small little technical hiccups that could make it much, much better at this job. Having said that, it's really important that I re-emphasize the point that this is a looper, it's not a backing track player. You can hack it to do that job pretty well, okay? But it doesn't need, by definition, for its intended use to be able to do those things. It's very, very good as a looper, especially with the addition of this XLR input, 2 inputs, 2 outputs. But the MIDI on this one really makes it very capable in this situation. So that is the GL200 in a backing track scenario. Any questions, throw them in the comment section down below. Thanks to Mooer for sending it out to me. By the way, they sent it out to me. I'm not being paid to make this or the previous review, but I do get to keep the pedal. Any questions, throw them in the comment section down below. If you've watched this far, as always, I'll ask you to please like and subscribe. It helps the channel out immensely. And then lastly, my band has a new single out next Friday. I'm going to throw a card for our channel at the end of the video. If you like my channel, I'd really appreciate it if you went and listened to my band. If you like the band, like and subscribe to that channel. If you don't. It's totally fine. And that's it. I shall see you in another video again soon. Take it easy. Bye-bye.